What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. What's going on, people? Good afternoon, 12 o'clock settings. You don't know what to do. Smash a like on the video on the way in. Subscribe if you are new. I can see James in the comments. Big up to yourself. Fat4 in the comments. Big up yourself. Edgar, big up to you. I can see Brush. And I can see a few other people as well. So you don't make sure you get commenting, get your comments read out as well. Big up to Owen coming through. More POCH rumors. That's the more POCH rumors, and I want to get into this. I want to get into this because one, I want to get into the reliability of where this is coming from and get into what is this? Where's this coming from? Is this regurgitated stuff? Well, it's a bit weird. All of a sudden, all these accounts, I mean, like I started coming out with it, and Ogden started coming. It's just a lot of people just started out of the blue, all at the same time, just doing this manager thing. So we're going to talk about that. Then, a little bit about Pochettino, Ten Hag, Enrique, and just, that debate. But I think the first place to start at is where it's coming from and why we're even talking about this. Why is this news today? And late last night, we had Samuel Luckhurst saying Erik Ten Hag is still under consideration by Man United and is believed to be Mauricio Pochettino's main rival for the job. You then had Rob Dawson from ESPN saying Ralf Rangnick is an admirer of Erik Ten Hag and believes he would be a good fit at United. Then had Samuel Luckhurst saying Pochettino is still in touch with Luke Shaw. Pochettino's body of work in the Premier League has impressed several Man United players. And he also goes on to say Man United are understood to be confident of hiring Mauricio Pochettino due to his long-standing interest in managing United. Then you got the Telegraph. You got James Ducker. He says Mauricio Pochettino's man management skills, hands-on expertise, training record of developing players, style of play and the Premier League experience are currying him real favour among notable parts of the Man United squad. And there's all this stuff basically that the players prefer him, etc., etc. Owen, look, there's always leaks, and I think that's what we need to be. We get used for players, whether it's agents, dropping in little bits of information, and we all go wild. I said it about the Kamara thing and the Haidara thing. We all get drip fed the thing. We get used as fans by the journos to perpetuate their stories and build their profiles and stuff. We get fleeced. We start to convince ourselves that actually this is what is happening in the background. This is who we want. And then you either go, the club's an idiot. The people that run in the clubs are idiots because why do they want Poch? And you get outraged about something that might not be true. Or you say, yeah, at least the club are showing real intent trying to get it Ten Hag when it might not be true. When really it's the journalists that are pushing this. We'll talk a little bit about how or what that would look like if it was Pochettino, if it was Ten Hag, that sort of stuff. But in terms of where you think this is coming from, do you think it's reliable? Do you think this is something that, is there?
Well, it was weird, wasn't it? Because it all came out at the same time last night, which was odd. Like literally 10:30 on the dot, all of these outlets started saying variations of a similar theme. But my point when I saw it is this even new news? Like this was the exact same thing, essentially regurgitated from what we heard when Ollie was sacked in November. Literally those three people, wasn't it? Poch, Ten Hag, Enrique. United have interest in Poch, Ten Hag, Enrique. And I think that is probably true. There's fair. But as you say, I think we have to be really wary where these reports come from. Enrique, when he was asked about it before, he went, it must be April Fool's Day. So he didn't really know anything about it. Poch, when he was asked about it in his press conference before that game against Man City last year, didn't say too much. Ten Hag hasn't had much to say either. And they're not going to say a lot, obviously. As I mentioned, is there interest from the club? I'm sure there is. But at the same time, you do have to realize the industry that's reporting this. Journalists have to write something. They have to write something. And it has to lead into people talking, and that's what's happened essentially today. And it's nothing really different. I look at it from 4 months ago, and maybe Enrique not as much. I find that one really far fetched, considering he's got a World Cup at the end of the year. Why he would leave his national side in July in the summer, right before a World Cup, I don't really see that one. But Poch and Ten Hag, they obviously want the job, right? That's been pretty much put out there. They both want the job. And make no mistake, despite current circumstances surrounding Manchester United, our lack of trophies in recent years, this is still one of the biggest and most prestigious jobs in world football. So there are people jockeying for position here. So who's to say agents, intermediaries, or just, again, journalists, they're not all reaching out to different people saying, oh, there is interest from Manchester United, or our client would definitely be interested if an approach came, or we think Manchester United might make an offer to us. There are people, like I said, jockeying around for position. There's always talk surrounding Manchester United, right? And you have to sift through it. It's like panning for gold. You have to sift through the dirt to actually find the little element of truth, the gold in it, the grain of truth where all of this starts from. I also see people, like you said, with the Pochettino one, when they say, well, Pochettino has good relationships with Luke Shaw from Southampton. Well, realistically, you can just look at Manchester United squad and just go, who's played under Pochettino? Luke Shaw.
Exactly.
He probably has got a good relationship with him then, so he probably would like him. There's leaps made here. So I'm a bit with you. I look at it and I went, well, I'm not really seeing anything different from what was really reported in November. And I think, as with anything, you kind of have to take things with a grain of salt and realize maybe necessarily where the things come from. And like you say, just sort of go, well, there's still a lot going on at the club. I'm sure they are looking at managerial appointments, but at the same time, you know, the idea of other players like this, players like that, I don't know. Well, I mean, what do you feel about it?
I feel like first of all, I feel like it's a big, massive happy birthday to Connect Real, regular viewer of the channel. Yeah, big up yourself, bro. It's my birthday. He says, can everyone in the comments wish Connect Real a happy birthday? Love to see that. And anyone else celebrating their birthday today, if it's you or your families or your people's birthday, big them up in the comments as well. But big happy birthday to Connect Real, bro. Have a great day. But yeah, on this, I feel like, and it's going to sound maybe a little bit nuts, but I feel like the club are just as frustrated with like the journalists just saying stuff as we are. Like, well, sometimes we're not frustrated because we lap it up. And I put myself into that. I'm saying, like, it's easy to see something. You go on Twitter and you go, oh, Samuel Luckhurst just said this, or Laurie Whitwell says this, or David Ornstein does this, or Jan Oga Filtov says this, or whoever it may be, Christian Falk, whatever, whoever it is, Romano. And it's like, I always said it. There's certain journalists who they get their sources of information are from agents. So someone like Romano, I reckon, to be honest, I reckon someone like Fabrizio Romano is a nightmare for clubs. They probably get really annoyed, in my estimate, you know, because yes, he gets a lot of stuff first, or drip feeds a lot of information, and is always coming to the forefront. But actually, when you realize it, I've said it a long time, it's not that he's in with the clubs. In my opinion, I think he's in with the agent. So an agent will say, we are looking for a move. Interested in Juventus,
he's on the transfer side of things. He's a transfer journalist.
Exactly that. Exactly. He's a transfer journalist. He's not in press conferences asking managers and following a specific team. His job is to have a massive phone book of football agents, of the top players. And if you think there's something there, you pick up the phone and you say, so what's Dusan Vibe? Is it what Arsenal thing? Are you trying to? Yeah, they're interested. They're interested. Yeah, we've got a couple flights booked going around Europe. Mino Raiola, same thing, getting inroad to him or his PA. And has Mino got any flights booked today? Yeah, he's stopping off in Spain. He's going to go to Italy after that. Then your story is, you know, Raiola does European tour for Haaland, and then it's like, yeah, Barcelona are interested, and then you formulate your thing from that. And I feel like we as fans, and especially on social media, and this is, and I'm part of this, which is what I've learned, is like we have to kind of say, well, like what you said, let's sift through this, because anyone, you know, I've got a lot of followers on social media, yeah, let's say on Twitter. So if I started saying like
bragging,
just saying, like, and the actual reason why I'm saying this is exactly the actual opposite. But I get what you're saying. But hear me out. If I started deciding to go like, I've heard this, you know, I might have spoke to a journalist at a game, or I spoke to someone a little bit in the know or whatever, and I say, heard this. Before I know it, like, you've got a responsibility with a big platform like these journalists do with blue ticks and stuff like that. It's like, as soon as you say it, that just picks up speed easy on social media. Why? Because fans are hungry for new signings / new manager. We all want it now. And if the right people say it, it can catch on. Anything can catch on social media. Lies, rumors, straight up defamation of character, anything you want. Like, and that's the bad bit of it. So I'm not saying that Pochettino is not linked to Man United, and Man United definitely ain't looking at him. I'm not saying that at all. And I'm not saying that we're not looking at Ten Hag. I think the general consensus, I think we could all agree, is that is a thing. But I think, like what you said, is this new news? Is this like, exactly. So why didn't anyone say this last week? Like, why didn't anyone say this yesterday?
You can look at this. you can look at this. I can say Manchester United are interested in Pochettino or Ten Hag. I don't know that to be fact. I know, but I know as an educated guess,
you know, it's a general consensus.
True. Yeah, it's probably true. And then if I say that, and then in July or whatever, we get Pochettino as manager, then I can go, yeah, told you so. I can quote tweet and say, told you back in February they wanted Pochettino. You know what I mean? There's educated guesswork going on, and I get that's the job as well of it, and I'm sure there are elements of truth to all of these kind of things. But I think that, and maybe it's a bit of a wider problem just in general, but whenever you see something on Twitter or on social media or just in general, you have to have a sort of a critical mind to it, going, how much of this do I buy into? How much do I think is necessarily true? Where do I think this is coming from? Is it coming from the journalist? Is it coming from an agent? Is it coming from the person themselves? Is it coming from the club? Where is it coming from? You have to have that discussion with yourself and not take everything at face value. And as I said, I looked at this and went, okay, like where's the new news there? I don't see it. It's the same for me since November. And that's not to say that, like I said, there isn't elements of truth in all of them. I'm sure Manchester United are actively looking as to who the replacement's going to be, the permanent replacement for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be. But when you really look into the stories of Manchester United, maybe prime candidate is Pochettino, Ten Hag's in the running, Enrique's in the running. You're like, well, okay, I feel like I'm in a time warp, Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's the same as November all over again.
Yeah, exactly. It feels very samey, and I think the issue is as well when you read these. So as I'm reading like these tweets, you know, Sammy Luckhurst also, I read that one already. You know, James Duck is saying, you know, Ralph Rangnick is understood to be a big admirer of the work. Is understood by who? Like,
and also, what does that mean?
Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
what does that mean?
Like,
if you ask Ralph Rangnick,
he's a big admirer of Pep Guardiola as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What does it mean? If you ask Ralph Rangnick, do you think Ten Hag's doing a good job at Ajax? Yeah, I think he's doing a great job. Big admirer. Big admirer of his work. It's like, wow, like you said, I'm sure he's big admirers of a lot of people. He's a big admirer of what Zidane did at Real Madrid. He's a big admirer of, like you said,
and that's what I'm saying. It doesn't necessarily bring into this. And what is interesting as well is James Ducker also starts talking about the French side of thing and how that he's going to get the sack there. So he also says sources in France. So again, he's just reporting. He's basically looking in the French media and saying what they're saying. Yeah. Which again, we've got English media where we're saying, well, where are you getting this from? It's the same in every country. There's rumors and lies everywhere. But they're saying sources in France expect Pochettino to part company with PSG at the end of the season. And there have been claims he could even leave the club sooner should they lose to Real Madrid in the Champions League round of 16. Richo is the preferred choice of a growing number of Manchester United players. He also goes on to become the club's next manager. Sources in France expect him to part companies. But yeah, so, you know, it's almost like, I don't know. Yeah, you've got to do it for yourself. You've got to do it for yourself because you know a lot of people are saying, you know, we've got a comment here says no, Poch, rumor or true. Ten Hag is the best manager in the world, says Daryl. I want Ten Hag, says Zakir. The players are crap. They need to be kicked out. And Peter says 4 steps forwards and 8 steps back if we go for Poch. Players want Poch. Another sign he's not the right man. And Zafir says Bottle Job FC hires a bottler. Perfect match. And then that kind of leads us into really the opinion on Poch, because especially on this channel, the community speak about it a lot. And I'm very aware that the United View community, from what I see, which I can talk best on, not feeling Poch at all. If you look on social media, not feeling Poch. A lot of people are like, nah, Poch is crap. But what are you saying? Now we're talking about Poch.
Yeah, I said this before. I can't remember who I was doing the stream with, but I think it was DJ, and we were having a discussion about it's when that stuff came out about Poch possibly leaving PSG, all that kind of stuff. I think if you look on paper, achievements, I think they're similar. I really do think they're similar. I think that you look at, because you can say, oh, what's Poch won? He's going to win the league this season in Liga. And people will say, well, that's nothing. You know, well, of course they're going to win the league. But then you look at, you know, Ten Hag at Ajax and you go, what's he ever won? They go, Eredivisie. But you go, well, of course, they're Ajax. They should be. And you go, okay, what's he done at Tottenham then? Well, he developed a side and they got to a Champions League final. And you go, that's impressive. You look at Ten Hag, you go, what's he done then that isn't the Eredivisie? They go, well, he developed a side. They got to a Champions League semi-final. They beat some big teams. It's like, well,
a lot of parallels.
okay. And they'll go, well, who did Ajax beat on their way? They go, they beat Real Madrid. And then you go, well, who did Spurs beat on their way? You go, they beat Man City the years they got 100 points in the Premier League and were practically unbeatable. They beat them over 2 legs. And you go, okay. I just think that maybe, and this is an assumption, this maybe is a little bit of a reach for myself, but I just think that maybe some fans lean towards Ten Hag because he's different than what we know. I think that given everything that's happened to United over the past decade, maybe some people are a bit tired of going with the tried and trusted or the tried and tested manager, the manager they know the most about. Maybe they do want to see something that's a bit more outside of the box, possibly what would be considered maybe a bit of a braver appointment by some, something less known and in their eyes, maybe something a bit more progressive. And I can understand that. I can understand that. My pushback to that would be, where are you getting the assumptions about maybe Ten Hag from? In the sense that, are you saying this because you have seen Ten Hag, or you've seen as many games of Ajax as you saw of Pochettino at Spurs? Because let's face it, everyone over here in the UK has seen Spurs under Pochettino play hundreds of games, and we've seen them play Champions League finals and yeah, not win things and yeah, bottle finals. But how many people, unless you are from Holland or unless you are just this avid European football watcher, can you say you've watched as many Ten Hag games at Ajax as you have of Pochettino at Spurs or PSG or Southampton even before? We've got this massive depth of knowledge when it comes to how Poch plays and his career. And I mean, I would be lying myself if I said I was this massive Ten Hag expert. I've heard, and like the same people on social media, and I've seen people say, I tell you what, Ten Hag's a good coach. He's a really good coach. Look at what he's done with Ajax. I've seen some Champions League games. I saw them when they played Spurs. I saw them when they played Real Madrid. I saw them when they played Dortmund. Really impressive. But we talk about sample size, don't we? And the sample size is different, I think. Now, again, this isn't me ruling him out, saying he's
because he does look like a good manager.
Or a better or worse coach. I would just say that I think that the way I see it pretty even. And I think the reason some people necessarily don't want to go with Poch is purely because they've seen that. And they want to see maybe, and they want to see maybe United go with something a bit more bold, a bit more progressive. And again, that's fair. That's fair. I understand that as well.
There's a lot of people agreeing with what you're saying, but also there's people who are not, and this is what it's about. Zafir says you're doing a Mourinho again, buying a decent manager past his prime, sort of saying he was good then, but not so much now. James says, Owen, good to see actual logic and reason in the fan base when this discussion comes up. Good point. Maybe we're being a bit too hard, says Mensa. And T Mill, which I like, says facts. Owen, most want Ten Hag because he's the sexy option, the new shiny toy, as they say.
And what I will say, sorry, just to round that off, is that I think that between now and when our next manager comes in, say it is July, there is so much that can change when it comes to the perspective on Pochettino and Ten Hag. Now, I'm not saying any of these things are going to happen, but Poch still has an unbelievable side in PSG. What if he won the Champions League? What if Ten Hag doesn't win the Eredivisie this season? I think he's 5 points ahead, but that's a couple of games that could switch. If we get to the end of the season and Poch just have success and Ten Hag doesn't, are we going to be saying the same thing? I think it's very, like I said, I wonder the sample size. That would be all I would say on it.
Well, to give the other side of the argument, Cadet Real says Ten Hag has built the Ajax side 3 times and they still play exciting football. Has lost a lot of players and continue to rebuild. I 100% agree with that. McCannley says McCannley fought 145, which is interesting and true. Says Poch bottled the league in Liga last season. We were getting a manager that PSG don't even want anymore, but apparently he's good enough for Man United.
I would say to that one, though, the interesting thing about the Poch bottle last year is that Tuchel got sacked because they were second.
Well,
they won the Champions League.
This is really good for McNally as well. 145. Big up to you for the comment, bro.
Yeah.
Or a girl. I don't know. I don't know. Actually, McNally could be a second name or anything. But big up to you because actually, that's your reasoning. It depends where you want to go with it. Everyone is going to have a different opinion. You could either say for everything you can back Pochettino for, you can have an equal or the same argument for Ten Hag, and vice versa. I think as long as you are willing to just see both sides, and that's definitely what we're here to do. Faisal agrees with McNally, says, finally, McNally, thank you. And this is interesting. Matthias says, my fear is if Ten Hag goes to City, that means 5 years of dominance again. So again, it's going down the road of that Ten Hag is brilliant and he will be just as good as Pep and he's fantastic. And some people rate him as highly as that. But my thing is this: is that I almost feel that Pochettino has been. I feel like the PSG is the job of death. It's like it's a job where it's like Pep Guardiola wouldn't go to Man. Me personally, people could disagree. Me personally, I don't think Pep Guardiola would take the Man City job, take the PSG job under how it is now with Messi, Neymar, Mbappe. All that. I actually don't think he's not going to get them to work. Do you think even Pep could get them to work and run like
it's not
how
just
there
the
is?
team; it's the structure
It's not
involved there as well.
the structure involved in the amount of autonomy that you have at that football club. And PSG is a very special case of a football club. Not much history. They've got an influx of a shitload of money now, and they're running a very different way. I would go as far to say, and this is my opinion, I don't know this, I could envisage there being a thing of, listen, we're sponsored by Jordan Brand, mate. When Neymar, Messi, and not Ronaldo and Mbappe are all fit, these guys got to play. Yeah. What's it? Di Maria is your compatriot. Don't care, mate. Like these lot have to play. And then there's a certain thing of like, then Poch has been kind of beaten with that stick. So maybe Poch was even better off not having a job from all the time from Spurs all the way to now. Although the next thing could have been he's been out of work for ages. But I almost feel like him going to PSG, you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you win the league, you're saying, cool, easy. How dare you not win the league with that team? And if you don't win the league, you're a disgrace. The only deciding factor at PSG of what they're searching for is the Champions League. Tuchel couldn't deliver it. Could deliver it. Fell out with some of the board members and stuff like that with the control. Got sacked. When he arrived at Chelsea, people weren't saying, why the hell are Chelsea getting him? And I get that. He's won things at Dortmund before, so he's actually won something. That's the thing that they're killing Pochettino with.
But they'll say, like, when they said that, they go, yeah, but we got to Champions League final PSG. But it's like, but Poch got one with Spurs.
Yeah, exactly. He got one with Spurs. And the thing, and another thing I would say, and this is where it's like, it depends which way Man United are going to go. So Patrick says here, which is an interesting point. Patrick says, I can't see Poch being able to handle top players. But we've got, I see that. Because that's what's happening at PSG. You look at the top players.
Yeah.
But if you look at the transformation of what we're probably going to go under, there's players there that I think would buy in to Mauricio Pochettino, in my opinion. And you could argue that those are the players that you might want to move on. So if you're saying like McTominay and Fred, Rashford, or I don't know, Luke Shaw again, or whoever it may be, it's not because let's say Ronaldo left, Cavani, let's say Pogba leaves. They're the three biggest characters. Bruno runs around and works anyway. Bruno's not going to not run for Pochettino. No chance. He would. So we have to restructure anyway. Do you know what I mean? So it's almost like I look back at Spurs and he had like some average players and turned them into what we know as very good players in the end. You know, Kieran Trippier has gone on to have a fantastic career where we wanted him at United only a little bit ago to replace Wan-Bissaka and has gone to Atletico Madrid and won the league. Played in Champions League week in, week out when he was in and out at Spurs and then became the mainstay. You look at players like Vertonghen and Alderweireld, they were okay when they arrived, just okay. He made them into probably one of the best.
Harry Kane,
same thing. Took him. Dele Alli was balling out and hasn't balled out since and was regarded as one of the best midfielders in the league. Brought in Eriksen, upped his levels in games. Like I just feel like he just gets disregarded too easy for it. I'm not here saying, oh, everyone's mad, mate. How the hell could you want Ten Hag? Forget him. It's got to be Poch for me. I'm not even in that camp. I just don't like the complete disregard. Like Pochettino's a dead manager. Like I don't see that. I think that's us just forgetting absolutely everything he's done because he's in a club now where it's actually not a good fit. It just isn't a good fit for him right now. Sometimes you need a good fit. You know?
Yeah, and I think also as well, like I said, I honestly, and this isn't me sitting on the fence, but if either one becomes United manager, I'd be happy with either appointment. I think
I'd be happy with either.
I think they both got pros and cons. And like I said, I think they're similar. I think the argument as well, a lot of the arguments I think you can make about Pochettino, I do think fall into Ten Hag. There was one that was brought up a second ago, was saying he won't be able to manage the top players. Where is the evidence that Ten Hag will be able to do that as well? You know, Ten Hag generally, at time as Ajax, has dealt with up-and-coming players that come through the academy. You know, and you could argue the same thing with Poch that, well, if we're having this big rebuild and we've got sort of lesser developed players, then maybe Ten Hag might be a good option there. But at the same time, you could say, but if there are senior pros there, maybe he won't be able to manage them either. I just think, and I'm not saying they're the same.
That's one of
they're not.
Pochettino's best things, that he if anything, it's that he develops players.
Like I said, and he could say the same, and he could say the same with Ten Hag. I'm with you in the sense that I just don't think. I think if you're going to look at reasons to write one off, they generally apply to the other guy.
Yeah, they're like exactly that. And it's like, that's why maybe a slight shade, and I mean a slight shade, because I'm really not, I don't mind. I would celebrate both. But like that, he's got the Premier League experience as well, knows the league inside out. You could say that's something that a box that he can't tick, but then a box that maybe Ten Hag can tick is, you know, he's won a few more trophies. He's had to rebuild with his best players getting taken. You know, there's pros and cons for both. For me, me personally, I'm like, I just don't get the whole Poch is done out here. Like he's done. He is. I just don't get that personally. Surinder says, Flex, mark my words, Bruno will leave. He will not sign a new contract. Surinder Singh, very, very strong on that. Very convinced that Bruno won't sign a deal. I think he will. I think he will sign a new deal. Unless we finish 9th or something this year. Maybe he might not. But yeah. Iris says, name one PSG youth player that he has the exact same thing,
but it doesn't work like that at PSG.
This is what I'm saying.
It doesn't,
like, to be fair, like, I don't follow again, and I'm just honest with it. I won't pretend to do things that I don't know. Don't watch PSG week in, week out, but I don't see a lot of, in my opinion, and please someone, if you watch a league every week and you know about PSG or whatever, maybe I'll ring Prees in London now. I don't see a lot of youth players coming through their academy and making it to their first team and playing week in, week out. I see them just go and get Hakimi for 60 million, 70 million, what it is, put him in, like, go and get the top players.
What's his name? Is it Simon Simmons, the guy that they got from Barcelona initially from their academy, and now his contract's expiring, and there's rumors he's going to be leaving PSG. And again, you could say, well, he wasn't developed, but even in that sense, he was picked from someone else's academy. When you're spending the money that PSG are spending, and you bring in, you know, in seasons like, you know, Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, Ramos, Donnarumma. You know, like your list can go on and on of picking up free agents. Even when you're picking up just free agents like Wijnaldum or Herrera, there is not a lot of room for youth development there. There just isn't. And the fact is,
that's true. I forgot about that. Wijnaldum, Herrera, Idris Gueye.
Yeah, when you did that that interview with Parisian London, when he was sort of saying that, you know, there is a lot of pressure on who to play. Do you think that if Pochettino said, actually, you know what, we've got this good up-and-coming striker, I'm going to maybe put Neymar or Messi on the bench, do you think he's going to be allowed to do that? Like you said. No. I struggle to believe that. Exactly.
Yeah. I like this from Sufyan B. Says, Ten Hag isn't much better than Poch, but it could be a statement if we go for Ten Hag. It's the only way we move forward. What if Poch is actually done? It's been 3 years since his Tottenham job. So that's what I mean. It's the uncertainty of, I think what Sufan's saying, and I think a lot of people would agree with Sufan, is saying, I just don't believe he's that guy. I feel like that era has passed. And I think what hasn't helped as well, and this I think what puts off a lot of fans, and I can see why, is the flirtatious nature that relationship that we've had for a while that just didn't work out. So it's like, do we get into that relationship anymore? Like, there's something else out there now. That was so 3 years ago when Ollie nearly got sacked, pulled it back. Then he nearly got sacked again, pulled it back. Then Poch actually went to PSG, so it wasn't a thing anymore. And it's like I think people are a bit sick and tired of that. I think if this was the first ever time he maybe got linked to us, maybe it'll be a little bit different. But Abdi says it there. Tuchel said you have no control at PSG. I just think judging him by the PSG thing and that only and then coming to the conclusion that now he's done, I think I personally think you're disregarding what type of environment PSG is. I don't think a lot of managers
I'm not sure you can judge any coach. I'm not sure you can judge any coach by what happens at PSG. Plenty of people have been there and had moderate success. People like Ancelotti have been there. I mean, Unai Emery wasn't a massive success there. I think even he lost the league when he was there, but no one would disregard to say Unai Emery isn't a good coach. The amount of times he's won the Europa League, etc. So I just think it's difficult. I just don't think that is. And again, because of I keep saying this, and I do think it's unlikely. I don't think PSG are going to win the Champions League this season, but with the squad they have, you can't rule it out. You can't rule.
Bob says we already
out.
have a reputation of getting players too late, and same with managers. And big up Faisal. Faisal says no, mate. If Poch was who he was, he wouldn't be getting the sack threats. He's another Ollie, So convinced that he's just not that good. My thing is why was Tuchel not done then when he left PSG? He got sacked. Why? I just want to know why. And is the answer just because he won a couple of trophies before from Dortmund, so showed he can win? If it's just that, then fair enough. But why was he not
and got to a Champions League final? Because again, if
he
you're
got
going to
Champions League final and lost.
But if you're going to look at it, Poch is going to win the league this season, and he got to a Champions League final at Spurs. Like, if you're going to look at it on paper, my point is there's not huge amounts of difference in this. And again, it's not like a whole pro Poch rah rah rah. My point is just I think it's just like I said, I would be happy with either. I think they're similar. Not on the style of football they play. Now that is a different discussion because I think they play different styles of football. And there's an argument to be made that maybe Poch might be better suited to the players we have right now in the squad, whereas Ten Hag, if we are going for a rebuild, maybe he would be a better option because we might even be playing more possession-based football similar to a Pep or something like that. That's a different conversation. But I think if you're judging it on CV and experience and winning things and bottling things, I mean, I would say if it's top trumps, it'd be pretty close.
Well, at Dortmund, so again, he didn't win the league. He won the cup. He won the cup at Dortmund in 16-17, and obviously to topple Bayern Munich it's almost impossible for Borussia Dortmund. Then at PSG, he won the league in 18-19 and 19-20. So because he didn't basically, because Poch didn't win that league last year, and Lille won it, that's the tarnish they're saying because he's going to win the league this year probably. He won the cup in 19-20. He won it twice, and he won the equivalent of the Super Cup. Oh, right, okay. So he won the Coupe de France as well. It's the equivalent of the Super Cup found in many other countries, and Champions League runner-up in 19-20. Then he went to Chelsea and he won the Champions League, won the Super Cup in 2021. It says, and FA Cup runner-up. So I'm like, well, he wasn't done after finishing PSG. He's just got a couple more trophies in that. So I don't know. For me, I just stick by what my opinion is, which is I like both. If either turns up, I'm like, cool. I don't mind. Abab says, I want the club to signal to the fans that this is a new era. There are signs of change, and Ten Hag will be another step in the correct direction, even if he fails. So, i.e., Ralph would go upstairs and you bring in Ten Hag again because it's different. But why would? Fair enough, Abab. But why? So why would Pochettino and then changing all the players not be the sign of a new era then? Because if you think about the players that got to leave, it would be a new era at Man United, no? With a new coach. I know we got reservations about who's taking the job after Ed Woodward, but Ed Woodward's now not there. Ralph Rangnick would be upstairs because that's what he signed to do. So it would be a new era, wouldn't it? As well as Ten Hag would be a new era as well. Either one's going to be a new era because we've got like 9 players leaving or want to leave. A lot of unhappy players. I don't need to list them all again, but Cavani, Donny van de Beek, Martial, Lingard, Pogba probably, even maybe Ronaldo you can add into that. There's a lot of players. Dean Henderson's going to want out. Eric Bailly's going to want out. There's a lot of players, a high turnover. So whichever way you look at it, I think we've got a chance of seeing there's going to be a new era, which I've actually said to KG many times. I haven't been looking forward to that because I just think it's going to be chaos. I just don't know if we're going to make the right decisions, but it is going to be a new era.
Yeah, I've said it several times. I feel like, I always look at the United team now that the first game of next season, the difference in Manchester United in terms of just personnel alone is going to be massive. You different coach, different coaching staff, players in, players out, but on a bigger level than we've probably seen in a really long time. We're going to be seeing, for better or for worse, and we don't know whether it's going to be good or bad, a different United next season. And I think it is going to be a new era. It just depends whether that era leads to any form of success or not.
Imran says Poch did okay at Southampton, but Ronald Koeman did better after him. Came third in a 2-horse race with Spurs, came second in a 1-horse race in France. So it's still not, again, just the ratings are just not there. And I'm very aware of the community. The community are saying, no, forget Poch. Paul Warner says, get Rooney, bum Poch, don't even get Poch, forget him. Forget him, man, just get Rooney.
You need someone who's
Rooney
going to put some
talking up the
studs on
things.
to hurt people. That's
Ah,
what you need.
Rooney,
You need
mate,
it.
he don't care. How can Rooney get fined or get investigated for something he'd done ages ago? The FA wants some clarity. Well, he said it, mate.
It's the Roy Keane situation, isn't it? It's the Roy Keane situation. Although
Yeah,
Roy Keane was still playing when he said it, and that is a difference.
yeah,
I
it's a
think,
bit
you know, when
mad.
he put
Yeah,
his book out.
but some clarity. It's like, okay, obviously he's still a manager and part of the FA. So yeah, what are you gonna do? Say, yeah, even John Terry was laughing about it. So it's like, it's just the old school, mate. That's just what they did. What are you gonna do? Fine him,
Interesting though, going back to the Poch thing, and this is a question for the community as well. The idea of he lost a one-horse race in France, that kind of situation. Does anyone's, and I doubt it will, but does anyone's perspective change when he wins the league this season?
Of course it
The
won't.
idea,
Of course it
like
won't. He'll say he should.
the idea of
You don't get ratings for
exactly.
winning it. That's why I don't understand why it's used as a thing, because if you win it, you don't get ratings. It's like you're not classed as a wicked manager if you win the league in PSG in France with PSG, especially now with the team they've got. Do you know what I mean?
And
with Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe.
If, for instance, and I'm just playing devil's advocate now, but at this point, but if Poch got to say semi-final or final of the Champions League this season, but he didn't win, would people credit him for that, or would people say he bottled it because he's got?
They would say
Neymar,
bottled
Mbappe,
it again,
Messi?
of course, but with Tuchel and with others who get to the fight, like, and Ten Hag, he got to the semi and bottled it against Poch. But like, you know, again, if you've met, I do believe personally, if you've made up your mind in this, I think you've made up your mind, and I think you ride it out.
Yeah, I think so.
And that's okay.
That's
you know, and you know, I'm a little bit more open to say, okay, I see that, you know, maybe this, maybe that. But essentially, I have made my mind up, to be fair. My opinion is that I think they're much of a muchness, and I'll be happy with either. So, you know, I suppose everyone's right to do that.
I think mine's a bit like, I mean, at the moment, I'm in the same situation as you, but I feel like I'm aware that situation or my opinion can change, because I think there's still a lot to play out this season. And I feel like that perspective can change. Like, the season isn't over for either two men yet. And I feel like come May or come June, like PSG might have been absolutely bad in the Champions League, and you might be like, oh, I don't know, or Ajax might get to the Champions League final again, or semi-final or final with this time around, because they've battered Dortmund a couple of times this season in the Champions League. You might look at it and go, I tell you what, actually, you know what? I was a bit on the fence either or, but I've seen what he's done in the Champions League this season with Ajax. I agree. I've been I'm leaning more there. I just think there's a lot to play out. I feel like opinions are very fluid at the moment, and they can change depending on what's going to happen in the future.
Yeah. Micaiah says, big up Flex. This channel is opinionated. 100%. It always will be. That is what it is. It's a space for everyone to come and not get shot down if there's a difference of opinion. And we definitely won't not, like, if I see someone who's clearly, you know, not agreeing with what I'm saying and saying it in the right way, 100%. That is what the platform's for. It'd be boring if we all just agreed on everything. I think these are the interesting talking points. A-Bub comes back with another super chat. Big up to A-Bub. And she says, I don't think Poch is a new era. Just the fact that our current crop of players would suit Poch is a red flag for me. And you know what, A-Bub, I've actually, thank you for that, because I know your team. I know your team, Ten Hag. I know you are. And I've seen you say it quite a few times, actually. And I've seen a lot of people kind of say what A-Bub's saying, which is that actually, because people ain't feeling this current crop of players, they're like, the fact that Poch can work with them, which means they have to stay and work and try and make them better. Nah, that I want to burn it down. Yeah, I want a completely new guy. I want a completely new guy who's like not going to have a I don't know, an affiliation to Fred and always going to play him, or an affiliation to McTominay and that's going to be his favorite, or an affiliation to Rashford, or affiliation to Maguire and stuff like that. So I see why some people say that, like it's just a whole new thing. But another thing, what I was going to say is that the Ten Hag thing as well is like, you have to remember how much, like, I think a lot of the reason why Ten Hag was successful at Ajax as well is because Ajax is set up and providing with conditions that allow him to thrive. You know, the recruitment, the way it is, the type of players that they get versus that they don't go for. You could pay players like Dusan Tadic that were just okay at Southampton. They go for that type of. Haller was at West Ham, was in it. Couldn't hit a barn door. Was it West Ham? It was West Ham, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't hit a barn door.
But look what he's done to them as well.
Yeah, but he's made them. Yeah, that's true. And then literally in the same argument, say exactly Flex, and look what he done with Tadic. So I get that. But what I'm saying is, though, does Man United operate like that? What if you look at how Man United is, which we know there's a lot going on behind the scenes. That's for a whole nother video. But what I'm saying is that the environment with, it's not Overmars anymore, but it worked with him. And he said, I saw Romano's comments of what Ten Hag said, that, look, he's basically my right-hand man. We'll see how it goes. I'm not going to talk about my future now, he said. Van der Sar, the way the club is run is my point. The way the club is run is a massive, massive help to what Ten Hag's trying to do. And even when I mentioned it to the guys at the We Are Ajax podcast, he's saying the same thing. He said that's true. He was like, you know, we support him in the way that we are with a high turnover of youth players and this, that, and the other. Our structure is perfect for him. And he did actually say, you can go back and watch the video. And this is Ajax through and through. Right. That's their club. It was brilliant. If you haven't watched it, watch it. And he was saying that could be a sticking point for him. And he also said that he has one way of playing. Like, he won't adapt.
It was
like, there was some interesting
when
stuff,
he said to you, like, when you were asking him, he went, you know what, I don't know if he'd be a good fit at United. And some people will say, oh, he's just saying that because he's an Ajax fan, doesn't want to lose Ten Hag. I think they're resigned to knowing that he's going to go because he is a good coach. He is a progressive coach. And I think that, you know, clubs around Europe are going to be going
like what happens with the players. Like what happens with the players at Ajax.
And he can't stay at Ajax forever. Exactly. There's an ascendancy going on there. So I think they're aware that he's not going to stick around forever. But I found it interesting that someone that watched Ajax every single week said, you know what? I don't know if he'd be the best fit at Manchester United in terms of, like I said, style of play, all that kind of stuff, which is curious. I think, like I said before, I think it's the fact that, you know, even with the Poch situation, I think some people might see as a bit of a red flag is that, like, Sir Alex Ferguson's such a big fan of him. He was a big fan of David Moyes, and we saw how that ended out. You know what I mean? I think some people are like, you know what, just maybe don't go with the tried and tested, like I said, and just go with something different. Go with something a bit progressive. Take a bit of a leap of something that's maybe not the most safest option. And I think maybe that's what people are looking for. And as was brought up, the whole idea of, you know what, burn it all down and build it up again and go with something a bit different. So I think, and again, I can see that, and part of me,
and neither are wrong. Well. Neither are wrong. I think that's what the interesting thing is. This is that actually there's genuinely, well, some people think either's wrong. Some people think the Pochettino is just wrong. But in my opinion, neither are wrong. If it goes in the direction of Ten Hag, etc., I'm fully behind it. He is exciting, and you cannot deny the job he's done. I'd be really happy if he was our manager. I would. But I'm just saying I have that same, which is where I'm probably different from a lot of people. I have that same love or same kind of thought principle, even with Pochettino. Beanie says, Flex, I'm mad impressed with the pitch side stuff you're doing. The quality and editing is crazy. Defo deserve a lot more views. Big up, Beanie. Appreciate it. Listen, man, the views will come. Like, I don't want to chase that. Like, just want to grow organically, purely. And we're doing that and keep pushing the boundaries, and you lot loved it. So yeah, the views will come, man. Appreciate that.
Shout out Josh as well, by the way.
I was just about to say that editorially. Listen, guys, we shoot things. We're out in the pissing down rain in Burnley. We get back late. This is a bit of an insight. We should probably do it behind the scenes at United View, actually. If you see Josh staying up to all times in the morning to get that spot on, for you guys to see it and to get it up early enough, and Josh is he's a machine. He is a machine.
Check out his story.
Yeah, follow him on Instagram and you'll see.
Legitimately, he did not sleep. And he could have, but he watched it and he went, no, I'm not sure I like that. I'm going to start again. And that's dedication. That's
and I'm gone. I'm in bed. I'm sleeping. Like, I've stayed up as long as I can. And he's like, let's go to sleep. Like, just go. Yeah. So yeah, we spend a lot of time on the road together. And trust me, his work rate is unreal. So yeah, big up to Josh. If you haven't already, follow him at Josh on Instagram. You won't be disappointed with the stories. Abab says, Ralph, to put the structure in place may take 5 years. A new era lays the foundations. We are already in pain. Let the pain be for the right reason. Fair enough. I see that. Very methodical from Abab, saying this is why that's why she wants to go with Ten Hag. Some people saying that Romano's tweeted. I don't know if there's anything in that. Is there anything there, Owen?
No, there's just there's stuff about the new training kit, the new training kit partnership with, how do you pronounce that? Is it Tezos?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a new Manchester United training kit, and United are going to reportedly earn £24 million per year with this new partnership. There's some pictures of Ronaldo, Bruno, Varane, De Gea.
I can see the Rolls Royce wearing it. I tell you what, I'm in. No, they're going to call me Glazer sympathist, actually, if I buy that. I better not. They're going to say that. Yeah. Because if you support your team by showing the colours and buy the thing, you're just buying into the Glazers.
Not allowed.
Exactly. I better not. I don't want to get into that. That's another. Again, that's another show. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
The love of your club versus get a fake one. Don't give them the money.
I don't know if this is the
looks
Romano
nice,
thing
though.
they're looking for. It does look nice. I
It
don't
does
know
look
if this
nice.
is the Romano thing that they're talking about, but there was a post about Rudiger about not being an option when it comes to a free agent for Bayern Munich. Salary demands are too high, not interested in current conditions. Doesn't mention anything about Manchester United, but there's been that rumor, hasn't there, when it comes to Rudiger?
Just on that quickly, if I just said to you, Rudiger Varane.
I would say sit back in your seat, take your eye out my face.
I'll say to you, get back, sit back in your chair.
I would say, well, okay, how much is his wages? If the reports
no transfer free, 250k, 300k
plus a signing
ain't
on
your
fee.
Money, signing on fee.
I saw that the other day. I saw that one the other day. It's not your money, so why do you care? I was like, because that would mean we don't get other players. Like, you know.
Apologies, sorry, just something to D Wiz says. Flex, skip my super chat again. Apologies. Where is that? Apologies, bro. Apologies. Sorry. My bad. I hate that. I hate when people, I never do that on purpose. D Wiz says, I can't believe people has forgotten what Poch has done. Had done for Spurs. He had no transfer in the summer window and got top 4. Who else can do that? Again, people just think that's past. Poch, think about this, yeah? Think about this. And again, I'm sounding pro Poch here because I probably am. So it's just a point that I'm going to put across. Tottenham obviously are Tottenham and we laugh at them for never winning anything. Tottenham fans would say that about themselves. We ain't won anything in ages. Arsenal fans obviously always on to them. That's fine. That's their rivalry. And Tottenham always get laughed at because they didn't win anything. Even under Poch, they came ever so close to Champions League, didn't win it, didn't get it done. Carling Cup final, didn't get it done. Whatever. All right, cool. But he got them top 4 like pretty much every year he was there. I think it was every year, wasn't it? He was there.
Nearly.
Apart from the last,
maybe not.
Maybe 1 year
season,
out.
Maybe
okay.
Maybe.
Well, he was good.
Enough.
He turned them into something where it's like Tottenham are in the top 4 now. Like they just are.
Yeah.
Like it just became
expanded
that
the conversation. Top 6.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, 100%. So again, that's another little pro Poch thing, which I know most of the high percentage of the community are not going to buy.
And look at other people. I mean, it's crazy when you look at Spurs. The coaches they have had in the last 3 or 4 years read as a who's who. Think about it. You got Pochettino, Mourinho, Conte, and I'm skipping over Nuno, but they're in terms of recent history, some of the more elite level coaches in Europe.
Yeah.
Mourinho, you could argue we experienced it. Maybe he is finished. He's not what he was. That's fair. Conte, it's too early and maybe you have to reserve a bit of judgment. But even he's gone into that club a bit at the moment. I think they got back-to-back losses. They lost last night.
Yeah,
and it's tough. It's tough.
Well, I think again, I don't want to get misunderstood here. So because Fatboy's saying, so you want Poch because he wants top 4, and Abab says it's Man United, it's different levels, it's not top 4. That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, that's exactly. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that. Well, he managed to get top 4 at Spurs, so that just means that's the only reason why he's good. I'm saying within winning the league at Spurs, it's never, it's not a thing. It's not a thing. That's not disrespectful. Wasn't even on their agenda, not at all. So he ticked his box in that thing at the time. He probably exceeded that with the squad that he built. He built Tottenham's probably best ever squad. If you want to be honest, with how they performed in the Premier League.
Certainly recent history.
In recent history, obviously they won stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever it was, I don't know when Tottenham's history, but what I'm saying is that. Some of the top man, Jose's gone there, failed, couldn't win nothing. You look at Spurs last night with Conte. Look how good a manager he is, which I think we should have got Conte, top manager. It's early days, yeah, you could say that, but I don't think he'll win anything. I don't. I just think it.
Wow. I'm not sure how long he'll last. I reckon he could walk, to be honest, because just talk about that environment.
It's another thing, exactly. When Poch wanted to redo that team to go again, he didn't even get the funds. I've spoken to Spurs fans about that. But a lot of them didn't even want him to leave, and it's been shit ever since he's gone. Let's face it, they haven't got any better. They've continued to get worse since he's gone. It's been crap, So and then Nuno, he don't even speak about that. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, that's a strange appointment anyway.
Yeah, and I think Conte will. Hey, Bob says I feel for Conte in his hair. I feel like he will ooze a little bit more out of them like because he's good enough to just get a little bit more. But there's still like they've got some average players, bang average players. Which you know, when Pochettino needed that refresh, he couldn't get it as well. So he fell on that sword too. But he gets banished and just says that's it. He's shit.
Like I said, my thing will just be if the biggest argument is that Poch maybe like hasn't won anything or he bottles things, when he wins the league this season in Liga, that won't be enough for people. But on the flip side of things, if you're looking at Ten Hag, you'll say, but he's won things, and you go, what has he won? And people go, the Eredivisie. I'd be like, well,
yeah. Again, it's just much of a muchness, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mr. I mean, look, I get. Someone said, like, you know, before he got there, they hadn't won the league in 3 years, so he did change that. You know,
and again, like I said earlier on, I'm 100% could be saying a completely different thing in a couple months' time because I think there's still so much of the season. to play.
This is just how you feel now at the time.
Yeah, just because there is so much of the season to play in the sense that both guys could be successful or really unsuccessful this season, and then that whole attitude changes completely like that. So I just think I think it's rash to be saying right now we should absolutely this guy, ruling someone out completely when, and again, I'm not saying that Pochettino is going to win the Champions League. I think I just don't necessarily see that. But who knows if even if they you know are successful or they batter a big side. Imagine they play, I know, like Liverpool in the Champions League and they knock them out convincingly. People might change their minds a little bit. You know,
no, because they'll say Mbappe and obviously Messi. Look what he done. Like,
it's not him.
Like, so that's what it'll be. It will be that there'll be the people who are not for Poch. That it's over.
Yeah,
it's over.
Yeah,
they need to hope that Poch don't. They need to hope that Poch don't arrive because if he does, they're going to just have to get behind it and not. Do you know what I mean? Mr. Unapologetic says United will not be successful no matter who the manager is if we continue making the same mistakes with the current recruitment of players. Very, very true. That's very, very true. Of things not working out, we've got to get the recruitment spot on. Which what we spoke about in the Declan Rice situation isn't always going for the £100 million player when there's a lot of market in value in the market, finding players from different areas and stuff. D-Wiz says, I like both managers, but the disrespect Poch is getting is crazy. He made Spurs a thing. Imagine what he can do at Man United. Anyways, I low-key like Graham Potter. It's another name that some people kind of say, you know, would people prefer him? Do people like Graham Potter to come to Man United? Is it too big a job for him? I don't know. It's a whole nother show that. But we'll see one. There you go. But he's at Brighton. What can you win? At Tottenham, it's not a history of winning. What can you win?
Yeah.
You know, there's arguments for everything. There's for and against, and I love it. That's what the channel's about, and that's what it is. Actually, just as we leave, Fat Four says that less than 200 likes. Do me a favor. Yes, please do me a favor. Do us a favor, like Fat Four saying. You know, we've got nearly 1,000 people watching, and we've got less than 200 likes. Let's. Can we do something about that? Can we just all do it? We have all been engrossed in good, quality debate, which I like.
Yes,
I like that. We haven't. I think everyone's been respectful. No one's really come on here just shouting the odds. It's just been silly.
And make no mistake as well. It's just it's opinion. None of us are right or wrong. You know, it's opinion. It's subjective, and I'm sure this debate will continue to rumble on and rage on until the actual official decision's made. And as I said, I think the goalposts will continue to move, and I think the opinions will continue to change. But that's football, and that's what we're talking about.
Exactly. Wicked debate. A game coming up again Saturday. You see Southampton last night, mate. I tell you what. And listen, even before that game, even before the Spurs game, I said, look what they've done to City home and away this year, this season. You know, never an easy team to play against, and they've been struggling at points in this season. But they're that team that when they get it together for some of their big away days, 100%. And you know what?
Also, as well, they
could have scored more yesterday.
Ralph and they're both Ralph, but Ranić and Hasenhüttl, right?
Yeah,
he was the successor to Ranić initially. So, and then Ranić came in back in afterwards, and that's when Nagelsmann came in. But there's a story there, and if anyone's going to know how Ralph's going to play, Ranić's going to play, it'll be Hasenhüttl. And they're weird, Southampton, aren't they? Because you can play them and beat them 9-0, and they'll be just all over the place. But then you can also play them, and they, like last night, look really dangerous and attacking, threatening. You'd never know what you're going to get.
That's some big defeats. I think, was it Leicester hit them for 7 as well, or was it 9 as well? Something like that. You know, Man City, I think, had done it to him before. I can't remember. But what I will say is 100% that game is going to be tough.
Really tough.
I'll say it now. Draw. I think it's going to be a draw.
Well, I remember when we played them at St Mary's earlier this season, we were lucky to get a draw. But it
Oh,
was
yeah,
terrible. We
very,
were awful. We got absolutely
very.
battered. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's going to be a really tough one. And we have to win. Like, obviously, Arsenal play tonight. And let's hope that Wolves do us a bit of a favour, because that's what
I
we're
think Wolves
relying on
will,
at
you
this
know.
point.
Yeah. That'll be a
But
good game. Can't wait to watch that.
I messaged you after the Spurs game last night and said that, you know, we got away with one there. But then it's even more frustrating because you think, but if we were playing the bottom of the league, so if we'd have won there, we'd start actually, you know, pulling away a little bit, putting way more pressure on those people to chase us, as opposed to being in that dogfight. It doesn't look like anyone wants fourth. That's the problem. Everyone's just dropping points. So
yeah, no one's going to pull away. No,
one.
and that's why we're always still going to have a chance of getting it. Like, yeah, we're going to keep effing it up. Like, yeah, everyone's inconsistent in there. Spurs can't put the run together because it's just not good enough defensively. Arsenal, now they're even weaker. They've let Aubameyang go, let some players go, not brought anyone in. Excuse me, not brought anyone in. Thank you. You know, and West Ham are just there and thereabouts. They might lose 1 or 2, but then they'll be back in. Now, we beat them last week, but then we drew and then they won, so that just cancels that out by 2 points. Like, it's just gonna keep doing it. John says, "Are you too good to talk about Zuma flex?" No, I don't know. Why would you say that? I'm not too good to talk about Zuma. Obviously, what he done to the cat and stuff is disgrace. Is awful. I was very surprised he played straight away. Very surprised he played straight away. I thought maybe Moyes could have read the room a little bit better on that. But he made his. It sounded like, I don't know, his response though, when he was like, "It's my job to, you know, pick a team for the." Sounded like the press officer, and they sat down and said, "This is what you say when it is, because we're dealing with it." And he had to like just go with it. But
what he did was horrible as well, and obviously being picked, I'm not sure necessarily what message that sends, not only to the players but to the fans, to everyone. There's not much condemnation in playing, and I think the answer,
because it was straight away though, like maybe it's like one game out and then we announced the fine and all that afterwards.
And I think the rationale of, well, he's one of our best players, that's irrelevant. Just no matter how talented you are at football, it doesn't justify any kind of action, in my opinion.
Yeah, so, but then after that, I mean, for me personally though, and because someone just said, "Am I too good to talk?" No, not at all. Then it gets into, I don't know, Chris Kirkland said some stupid stuff like, "Oh, it's the same as it's worse than racism," and stuff like that. And you start getting to that. And big up Mikel Antonio. If you haven't seen what Mikel Antonio said earlier, I think you just take a look at that. Me personally, I think that, because, you know, to lose his whole career, I think what I think the right things have happened. You know, brands might distance himself from me. He's lost his boot deal, fined the maximum he can be fined, and his cats have been taken away from him because clearly he can't look after animals. You know, it's a disgrace what he done. But people trying to say, you know, that it's worse than racism, can't get behind that stupidness for me personally. So yeah. So big up to I can't remember who that was who said, "Am I too good to talk about?" No, not at all. I must have missed that. So apologies, bro. Apologies. Smash a like on the video. If you guys are new to the channel, subscribe if you are new. And yeah, we'll be back with the build up towards Saturday, Southampton. What is it? Tomorrow will be press conference.
And preview day. Will be interesting to see what Ralph says.
So, yeah, exactly. See what Ralph has to say. See who's going to be available. And I have to say, when I met the Rolls Royce, my favorite player at United, I was fanboying. I was. You know, I just have to finish off on that. I don't really. There's, you know, I've been around the squad a lot. Like I don't get starstruck. I don't. And that's not me showing off or anything like that. I'm just, you know, I'm there to kind of more show the people what it's like to be closer to players, so that the viewers can get the insight. I've been around the players. I don't normally get like that. Like Little River. So everyone's seen the picture that's gone viral with Ronaldo, and everyone's clicking me to say I'm in it. But the story behind that, actually, before we finish off the story, I thought I may as well share it. The story behind that is actually little man was there, and his dad was explaining to me like his journey with his cancer, and he's getting his chemo and stuff like that, and then his journey. And he said that he was best friends with it. They're Wolves fans. They're actually Wolves fans, but they're doing tours of everywhere. There was at the Man City game. They've been there and invited there, and he was best friends with Adama Traore, was like his hero. And he left obviously to go to Barcelona, and he was really upset. So they've taken him around, and he said his dad said to me, and this puts everything into perspective. His dad said to me, "I just take Little River around, you know, to show him like this is the best medicine. Like, yes, he's having his chemo, he's lost his hair, he's struggling, but this is the best medicine. Getting out, and you know." Then he was like, I'm doing this for other kids as well, because if they see our story, that we've met some kids on the ward that was with Little River, and Now they've gone to City. We got them in there, and emailed said there's another child struggling with cancer, and this would make their day. And it was wicked. So what actually happened was the picture looks like I'm looking at Ronaldo in awe, which I respect Ronaldo, but I actually wasn't. What it is that he was like, oh, because the players were walking past, and I was saying hello to a few. So they said, oh, do you reckon you could get some of the players to come? And so I saw Ronaldo walking with Karen, and I said, Karen, can we get Ronnie to take a picture with little man? Like, because he wasn't really going to take pictures. And I said, can you take a picture of little man over there? And it was unbelievable. It was wicked, man. So I was like in awe of the situation of little man.
That's great.
And then Jesse come over and was wicked with him, and Jaden come back over, and all the players took pictures with him. And that's what it's about. That's what it's about.
Moments. It's moments. 100%. It's unbelievable, and it affects so many people. And like you said, if that maybe also opens the door for other people that are suffering or struggling to also have that experience, and it's amazing, isn't it? It's unbelievable.
100%. So that was the story behind that. But back to the Raphael Varane thing. It was great. I was actually having a chat with him as well, just about how he's settling in and stuff like that. I had a chat with Dallo. I had a chat with Tom.
I was thinking, imagine if it lucky that it wasn't an interview or whatever, because your hand.
No, I wouldn't have done that. Owen, don't diss me.
How you settling in at United?
Owen,
you're like Ricky Bobby. You don't know what to do with your hands. You're like that.
Owen, don't do me like that. You know I'm better than you know me better than this. Yeah. When it comes to being professional, I could have got that done easy. Yeah, I could have got that done easy. Sure. I wouldn't have been like that.
Sure.
But I would have gazed into his eyes though. But there you go.
Just got
big like Rafa, man. He's my dad.
Next question. You're like, what?
I don't ever really get player shirts, to be fair. I don't often do that. The old like crop of players, like back in the day, I would have. But new school, I don't really do it. So do you know what? Flex, how did you signal to Varane? Hey, do you know what the maddest thing is? I actually did. I said, "Hey, Rafa." I did actually. Hey, Rafa. Like I was like, yeah. Like whoever pick.
When he walked off a little bit into the distance, when he was just out of earshot, did you go, "I love you"?
Why are you making me out to be some weirdo now? Now you're just rinsing me. You just rinsing
and then there was Josh behind you. What did you say? What? Nothing. Didn't say anything.
Yeah, you want to know the conversation I had with Dallo when I was talking about other right backs. What I would say is I think I might get a Varane shirt actually. He's just my favorite player. I just love Varane. Just do at me, innit? So sometimes you gotta admit he's just my favorite. You know, he's new. He's not been part of all the mess. I just like him. So yeah. Bit of fun to finish off the show on. Anyway, smash a like on the video, guys. Like I said, we got all the build up to a very, very difficult game at Southampton. That is going to be very, very tough. So yeah, we will see you lot very, very soon. Wicked show. Really enjoyed that. We're out of here. Peace.